You sit at the dinner table eating a completely bland, tasteless, unsalted piece of chicken. You've thrown away your salt shaker. You've been doing this for months. Yet, you check your blood pressure, and it's still 150/90. You feel defeated. Why is your blood pressure still dangerously high if you cut out the salt? Because you've been given an incomplete biological equation. This video is for educational purposes only. Never stop your blood pressure medication without consulting your doctor, as it can cause a dangerous rebound spike. I see you. You followed the rule you were given, cut salt, and you did everything right. You sacrificed flavor, social meals, the simple comfort of a salted bite. Yet the numbers didn't budge. That frustration is not your fault. It's a failure of the one-size-fits-all advice we were handed. For decades, public health taught us, sodium is the enemy. Reduce sodium, reduce blood pressure. That advice came from real concerns. Excess sodium can increase blood volume and stress your heart. But modern cellular science gives us an important correction. The full picture isn't more or less salt. It's the balance between two minerals, sodium and potassium. If you only target sodium, but your potassium is depleted, you're only treating one side of the seesaw. Many people with hypertension are not merely eating too much salt, they're suffering from a modern deficiency. Not enough potassium and a broken sodium to potassium ratio. That mismatch keeps blood vessels tense and blood pressure high, even on a low sodium diet. Over the next chapters I'll explain, in plain science you can trust, how potassium works inside your cells to relax blood vessels, why your kidneys are central to this problem, and practical, safe steps, including a supportive protocol, you can discuss with your clinician. This isn't about blame. It's about giving your biology what it needs. First, let's bust a myth. Salt alone is rarely the whole problem. If your meals are tasteless but your blood pressure is stubborn, the real issue might be what's missing, not just what you removed. If you're ready, we'll start by looking at the microscopic machinery inside your cells, the sodium-potassium pump, and how it determines whether your blood vessels stay tight or soften. Let's go. Now let's zoom in, very small, microscopic, to the place where blood pressure is literally decided, the cells that make up your blood vessels. Every cell in your body keeps a careful balance of two charged minerals, sodium, Na, and potassium, K. They aren't just nutrients, they are electrical signals. The difference between inside and outside the cell creates voltage across the cell membrane. In blood vessel smooth muscle, that voltage controls whether the muscle is relaxed or contracted. Think of the inside of the cell like the cozy interior of a house. Potassium is meant to be mostly inside, it's your houseplants. Sodium belongs mostly outside, the neighborhood guests. The cell maintains that household by running a tiny, powerful machine in the wall called the sodium-potassium pump. This pump uses energy, ATP, to move ions. It pushes 3 sodium ions out and pulls 2 potassium ions in with every cycle. That's important. It keeps intracellular sodium low and intracellular potassium high. That gradient is the basis for the cell's electrical state. Why does that matter for blood pressure? Because the electrical state of vascular smooth muscle controls calcium entry. Calcium is the trigger that makes muscle cells contract. If the membrane is more positive, less negative, calcium channels open and the muscle tightens, narrowing the vessel. If the membrane is more negative, hyperpolarized, those channels stay closed and the muscle relaxes, dilating the vessel. Here's the subtle chain that often gets missed. Low potassium, or poor pump function, allows intracellular sodium to rise. When intracellular sodium creeps up, the cell's ability to remove calcium is impaired, because key exchangers that shuttle calcium out of the cell rely on the sodium gradient. More intracellular calcium equals more contraction. In short, low potassium right pointing arrow disrupted pump right pointing arrow more sodium inside right pointing arrow more calcium inside right pointing arrow tighter blood vessels. Potassium itself is actively relaxing. When extracellular potassium rises within a normal physiological range, two helpful things happen. The pump's electrogenic action and specific potassium channels work together to make the membrane more negative, closing calcium channels and promoting relaxation. That's why potassium is not just nice to have, it's a direct signal to tell vessels to relax. I want to be clear and compassionate here. This is not blaming you for eating. It's a physiology problem created by modern diets and how they change the mineral environment around your cells. You did what you were told. You cut salt. But if potassium stays low, the cellular machinery never gets the message to relax. So when I tell patients the sodium-potassium ratio matters, this is exactly what I mean. It's the balance that keeps the pump working, the sodium gradient stable, and intracellular calcium controlled. Fix the ratio and you change the electrical environment that determines vessel tone, an important lever for managing blood pressure safely alongside medical care. Next, we'll step back up to the organ level, your kidneys, and see how they are the master regulators that respond to these cellular signals. That's where diet, minerals, and medication all meet in real life. You did what public health told you. You cut salt. That was sensible. Salt in excess does raise blood pressure in many people. But imagine fixing a leaky roof by only bailing water out of the house, without ever repairing the broken gutter that keeps funneling water in. That's what a low-sodium, low-potassium modern diet often looks like. Over the last century our food environment flipped. Whole foods, vegetables, tubers, fruits, wild fish, were naturally high in potassium and low in sodium. Processed foods are the opposite, high hidden sodium, stripped of potassium. The result is not only more sodium, it's far less potassium than our cells expect. That mismatch matters because the sodium-potassium ratio is a stronger predictor of blood pressure than sodium or potassium alone. In other words, it's the balance that predicts whether those arterial muscles stay tight or relax. Think about one simple lunch. A store-bought sandwich, a bag of chips, a soda. That meal can deliver a day's worth of sodium but almost zero potassium. Do that repeatedly and your body's mineral environment changes. Your cells, and the organs that depend on them, begin to behave as if sodium should be hoarded and potassium conserved, which, long-term, pushes blood pressure up. Now let's bring the kidneys back into the picture. Your kidneys are the body's control center for sodium and potassium. They decide what to keep and what to excrete. Importantly, when dietary potassium is adequate, the kidneys are signaled to dump excess sodium. A process called potassium-induced natriuresis, which reduces blood volume and eases pressure on the vessels. But when potassium is chronically low, the kidneys change behavior. They hang on to sodium. That preserved sodium increases fluid retention and keeps vascular smooth muscle in a more constricted state. So the thing you cut, salt, might not fix the problem if the thing you're missing, potassium, remains low. So what does this look like in practice? It means shifting from low-flavor, low-potassium convenience foods to food choices that naturally raise potassium while keeping sodium sensible. Examples: leafy greens, sweet potatoes, white potatoes with skin, avocados, beans and lentils, salmon, mushrooms, and whole fruits. Simple swaps that increase potassium density. You don't need to go extreme. Start with one swap at a time. Instead of chips, have a baked potato. Instead of a packaged snack, grab a banana and a handful of nuts. Add a salad or a side of steamed spinach to a meal. Over days and weeks this raises your dietary potassium and nudges that Na-K ratio back towards the zone your cells prefer. One crucial, compassionate note. If you have chronic kidney disease, are on medications that raise potassium levels, for example certain blood pressure medicines, or have been told to limit potassium by your clinician, don't add large potassium doses on your own. Adjusting dietary minerals should be done with your healthcare team. We are optimizing a biological system, not overriding it. In short, the modern diet often creates a potassium deficit and a distorted sodium to potassium ratio. Fixing that ratio, through food-first strategies and thoughtful clinical coordination, gives your cells, your kidneys, and your blood vessels the signal they need to relax. Next, we'll look at an organ-level support approach to help your kidneys and cardiovascular system while you work on those dietary changes. And as always, never stop or change prescribed medications without your doctor's approval. Now we move from food to targeted support, how to help the organs that have been doing the heavy lifting for years, your kidneys and cardiovascular system. Quick safety reminder before we talk supplements. Never stop or change your blood pressure medication on your own. Talk with your prescribing clinician first. Suddenly stopping meds can cause dangerous rebound blood pressure rises. Medications can be essential. They help control pressure immediately by dilating vessels, modifying hormones, or increasing urine output. But medications don't necessarily restore the cellular mineral environment or repair years of stressed kidney and vascular function. That's where thoughtful adjunctive support can help while you normalize your sodium-potassium ratio. One such adjunct I discuss with patients is a cardiovascular support formulation called Bazopril, a botanical and nutrient-based supplement designed to support kidney resiliency and healthy vascular function as you work on diet and lifestyle. It's intended as an adjunct to, not a replacement for, prescribed therapies. Bazopril combines specific botanical extracts, electrolyte support ingredients, and antioxidants chosen to support normal kidney function, gentle fluid balance, and the biochemical environment that helps vascular cells function properly. In short, it's designed to be a biological tool to help optimize the systems that manage sodium and potassium. Mechanistically, the goal is simple and clinical sounding. Support healthy organ function so your kidneys can do a better job of responding to dietary potassium, and your vessels can respond to the electrical signals that tell them to relax. That sets the stage for diet and meds to work together more effectively. In practice, clinicians use supplements like this as part of a broader plan. Food first, potassium increases, medication management, and lifestyle, sleep, activity, stress. If you and your clinician opt to try Bazopril or similar support, it's a monitored step. We check electrolytes, kidney function, and symptoms to make sure everything is safe and helpful. I want to be clear. Bazopril is not a magic bullet. It's a supportive, biological tool. One part of a coordinated plan. Some people feel better vascularly or notice improved energy. Others mainly appreciate the sense of doing something proactive while they rebalance their diet. If you're interested in a clinical blueprint that pairs diet, monitoring, and adjunctive support like Bazopril, I'll link a clinician-reviewed protocol in the description. And again, never make medication changes without your provider. Let me leave you with a practical, real-world summary. You don't have to eat tasteless food for the rest of your life. You are given incomplete advice if you only focused on sodium. The smarter, biological approach is to raise potassium, support the kidneys, and coordinate with your clinician so medications and lifestyle work together. A simple, safe plan to discuss with your clinician. 1. Food first, potassium increases. Add leafy greens, avocados, beans, potatoes with skin, and fatty fish. 2. Check labs, serum potassium and kidney function before and during changes. 3. Review medications so your clinician can adjust dosing if needed. 4. Consider monitored adjunctive support, like Bazopril, as one tool among many, only with clinician oversight. Be realistic. Balancing minerals and restoring organ resilience takes time. Some people notice modest improvements in weeks. For others, it's a slower process. The goal here is to manage your blood pressure safely, improve vascular responsiveness, and give you better long-term control, always as an adjunct to medical care, not a replacement. If you want a clinician-reviewed blueprint that pairs food strategies, monitoring checklists, and a monitored adjunctive protocol including Bazopril, I've linked it in the description. Use it as a discussion guide with your healthcare team, not as a substitute for their judgment. You've already done the hard work of trying to improve your health. That effort matters. Now let's make it more effective by fixing the biological balance your body is asking for. More potassium, smarter kidney support, and clinically coordinated care. This information is for educational purposes only. Do not stop or change your blood pressure medication without your clinician's guidance. Abrupt changes can produce dangerous rebound spikes. Discuss any dietary or supplement changes with your healthcare team.